CNET JRF Level Environmental Science Paper 1 Lecture, Learner. In ECN, understanding the learner is crucial for creating effective teaching strategies that cater to diverse learning needs. Knowledge of the learner's characteristics, needs, abilities, and learning preferences enables educators to design instruction that maximizes learning potential. This section explores the various aspects of the learner, such as cognitive development, social and emotional factors, and individual learning styles, all of which contribute to a student's academic performance and overall development. The learner focal point of the teaching learning process, and various internal and external factors impact their learning experience. 1. Learner's cognitive development. Cognitive development refers to the mental processes that enable learners to acquire knowledge, think critically, and solve problems. Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and Jerome Bruner, among others, have contributed significantly to understanding cognitive development in learners. Is progressing through different stages, from sensorimotor learning in infancy to complex problem-solving in adulthood. In the context of education, cognitive development influences how learners absorb and process new information. A learner's cognitive abilities shape their capacity to grasp complex concepts, develop reasoning skills, and engage in higher-order thinking such as analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. Teachers must recognize that learners at different developmental stages may require different instructional approaches. For example, younger learners may benefit from more hands-on and concrete experiences, while older students can engage in abstract reasoning and critical thinking. Cognitive development can be influenced by external factors such as the learning environment, the complexity of the material, and the availability of resources. Educators must ensure that the content presented is at an appropriate level for the learners, balancing challenge and support to avoid cognitive overload or understimulation. 2. Learner's social and emotional development. Learning is not just an intellectual activity but also an emotional and social process. Social and emotional development refers to the learner's ability to form relationships, communicate with others, and regulate their emotions. Emotional intelligence (EQ) is as important as intellectual intelligence (IQ) in determining a learner's success. Social interactions with peers and teachers help learners develop skills such as cooperation, empathy, and conflict resolution, which are essential for their personal and professional lives. Furthermore, emotional development is crucial for creating a conducive learning environment. Learners who experience positive emotions, such as a sense of belonging, are more likely to engage actively in the learning process. In contrast, negative emotions, such as anxiety or frustration, can impede learning. Teachers can foster emotional well-being by providing a supportive and empathetic environment, encouraging open communication, and promoting social-emotional learning (SEL) strategies. 3. Learners' individual differences. Individual differences among learners can significantly influence their learning styles, preferences, and abilities. These differences may be cognitive, e.g., problem-solving ability, emotional, e.g., resilience, or based on prior experiences and cultural backgrounds. Understanding these differences is essential for tailoring instruction to meet the diverse needs of the learner population. Factors such as learning styles, motivation, and prior knowledge must be considered when designing and delivering lessons. Learning styles refer to the various ways in which learners absorb and process information. Some learners may be visual learners, others auditory or kinesthetic, while some may prefer a more holistic or analytical approach. While the concept of learning styles is debated, it remains important for teachers to recognize that learners vary in how they best engage with the content. Differentiated instruction is one strategy that can be used to accommodate these differences, ensuring that all learners have an equal opportunity to succeed. 4. The role of motivation in learning. Motivation is a critical factor that drives learners to engage with the content and persist in their learning efforts. According to self-determination theory, SDT, intrinsic motivation, motivation driven by personal interest or enjoyment, and extrinsic motivation, motivation driven by external rewards or pressures, both play vital roles in student achievement. Learners who are intrinsically motivated are more likely to take ownership of their learning and persist in the face of challenges. In contrast, those motivated extrinsically may focus on external outcomes like grades, which could affect long-term engagement with the material. Teachers can enhance motivation by creating an environment that fosters autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Providing learners with opportunities for self-directed learning, recognizing their achievements, and building positive teacher-student relationships can enhance intrinsic motivation and create a more engaging and effective learning experience. Providing learners with opportunities for self-directed learning, recognizing their achievements, and building positive teacher-student relationships can enhance intrinsic motivation and create a more engaging and effective learning experience. 5. Learners' role in the constructivist approach. In the constructivist approach to learning, learners are viewed as active participants in their learning process rather than passive recipients of information. This approach is rooted in the ideas of theorists like Piaget and Vygotsky, who emphasize the importance of learners constructing their own understanding through interaction with the environment, social collaboration, and problem-solving. In this framework, learners use their prior knowledge and experiences to build new understanding. The teacher's role shifts from being a sole provider of knowledge to a facilitator who guides learners in exploring and discovering new ideas. This approach fosters critical thinking, encourages independent learning, and helps learners make connections between theory and practice. Teachers adopting a constructivist approach encourage inquiry, exploration, and dialogue, allowing learners to take more responsibility for their learning. 6. Learners' prior knowledge and experience. Learners come into the classroom with different levels of prior knowledge and experiences, which can affect how they approach new learning material. Some learners may have a strong foundation in a particular subject area, while others may require more basic instruction. Teachers need to assess students' prior knowledge to ensure that instruction is appropriately scaffolded. Scaffolding involves providing temporary support to learners as they develop new skills or understandings, gradually reducing the support as they become more competent. Incorporating students' prior knowledge into lessons can enhance engagement and help learners make connections between new and existing knowledge. For example, when introducing a new concept, teachers can use analogies or real-life examples that relate to students' past experiences to make the content more accessible and meaningful. Educational implications of understanding the learner. Understanding the learner is essential for effective teaching and learning. Educators must be aware of the cognitive, emotional, social, and motivational aspects of their students to design and implement instruction that meets their diverse needs. Teachers should continuously assess and adapt their teaching strategies to ensure that all learners can achieve their potential. Incorporating differentiated instruction, fostering intrinsic motivation, and building positive relationships are critical strategies for accommodating individual differences and supporting diverse learners. Teachers must also recognize the role of prior knowledge and experience in shaping learning outcomes, using scaffolding and constructivist approaches to enhance understanding. By understanding the learner and all their complexities, educators can create more inclusive, engaging, and effective learning environments. Previous year questions with answers. Which factor primarily influences a learner's ability to absorb new information? A. Teacher's knowledge. B. Learner's cognitive development. C. Classroom environment. D. Peer relationships. Answer. B. Learner's cognitive development. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. Which of the following strategies is most effective in motivating learners? A. Punishing underperformance. B. Offering external rewards for all tasks. C. Fostering intrinsic motivation by providing meaningful learning experiences. D. Encouraging passive learning. Answer. C. Fostering intrinsic motivation by providing meaningful learning experiences. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. What is a key component of the constructivist approach to learning? A. Passive absorption of information. B. Learners actively constructing their own understanding. C. Teacher-centered instruction. D. Standardized testing. Answer. B. Learners actively constructing their own understanding. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. Which of the following best describes the teacher's role in a constructivist classroom? A. The teacher provides all the answers. B. The teacher is the central figure in the learning process. C. The teacher guides and facilitates learning through inquiry and exploration. D. The teacher lectures and assigns homework. Answer. C. The teacher guides and facilitates learning through inquiry and exploration. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. Which aspect of a learner's development involves the ability to interact and collaborate with others? A. Cognitive development. B. Emotional development. C. Social development. D. Motivation. Answer. C. Social development. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. Does prior knowledge influence a learner's ability to learn new content? A. It does not have an impact on learning. B. It helps learners to make connections and understand new concepts more easily. C. It always hinders learning. D. It is irrelevant to learning new content. Answer. B. It helps learners to make connections and understand new concepts more easily. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. Let me know the next topic, and I will continue providing detailed, high-quality coaching notes. You said, support material, ChatGPT said. UGC Net JRF Level Environmental Science Paper 1 Lecture, Support Material. Support materials in education are crucial tools that enhance and facilitate the teaching and learning process. These materials provide additional resources and support to both teachers and learners, helping to make the learning experience more effective, engaging, and accessible. Support materials can take various forms, such as printed resources, digital tools, visual aids, and real-world examples. In this lecture, we will explore the types, purposes, and importance of support materials, as well as their role in the overall teaching process. 1. Types of support material. Support materials come in a variety of formats, each serving different purposes to aid learning. The most common types include printed materials. These include textbooks, worksheets, handouts, workbooks, and study guides. Printed materials offer structured content, which helps learners to organize and review information. These are often the core resources in a traditional classroom setting and serve as reference material for both teachers and students. Digital resources. In the modern classroom, digital support materials such as ebooks, online articles, instructional videos, and learning management systems (LMS) play a crucial role. Digital tools make it easier for learners to access a variety of learning content at any time and from any location, offering flexibility and convenience. Websites, apps, and software programs are widely used to support learning, and they often provide interactive elements that engage learners more deeply. Visual aids. Visual support materials such as diagrams, charts, graphs, maps, and pictures help to clarify and reinforce concepts. Visual aids are particularly beneficial for learners who are visual learners, making complex ideas more accessible and easier to understand. For example, a flowchart showing the carbon cycle can be more helpful than simply explaining it through text. Audiovisual materials. Audiovisual tools, including videos, podcasts, and interactive presentations, are highly effective in supporting diverse learning styles. These materials are especially useful in subjects that require visualization of processes or phenomena, such as environmental science. Videos and simulations can present real-world examples, helping students visualize theoretical concepts. Manipulative materials. In subjects such as environmental science, physical models and kits allow students to interact directly with materials, deepening their understanding. Examples include environmental model kits, soil analysis kits, or climate data collection tools. Manipulatives make abstract concepts more tangible and enhance hands-on learning. Experiential materials. Field trips, laboratory experiments, and on-site visits are examples of experiential support materials that provide real-world exposure. In environmental science, such activities are vital, as they allow students to apply classroom knowledge to real-world situations, deepening their understanding of ecosystems, environmental issues, and conservation practices. 2. Importance of support materials in the teaching-learning process. The use of support materials is essential for creating a dynamic and effective learning environment. The benefits of using appropriate support materials in teaching include enhancing understanding. Support materials make complex content more accessible. For example, environmental topics such as biodiversity, climate change, or pollution can be difficult to comprehend through text alone. Visual aids like infographics or diagrams can provide clarity and improve understanding. Engaging students. Different students have different learning styles. Some may benefit from visual representations, while others may prefer hands-on activities or digital resources. Using a variety of support materials allows teachers to cater to the diverse needs of students, keeping them engaged and actively involved in the learning process. Facilitating active learning. Active learning is a student-centered approach that encourages participation through activities like discussions, problem-solving, and group work. Support materials such as case studies, role-playing, or interactive software can prompt students to think critically and apply their knowledge to real-world problems. Improving retention. When support materials are used to reinforce key concepts, learners are more likely to retain the information. For example, after watching a video on the impacts of deforestation, students might recall the information more easily when they are later asked to analyze data or present their findings in class. Personalizing learning. Support materials allow teachers to differentiate instruction based on individual learners' needs. For example, some learners may require extra support, such as printed summaries or additional worksheets, while others might benefit from challenging resources, such as advanced readings or extension activities. 3. Role of support materials in environmental science education. In environmental science, support materials play an especially critical role. The subject matter involves complex scientific concepts, systems, and processes that are best understood through the use of a wide range of support materials. Here's how support materials can be utilized effectively in environmental science. Visual representation of complex systems. Environmental science involves understanding complex, interconnected systems like ecosystems, biogeochemical cycles, and food webs. Support materials such as diagrams and flowcharts are extremely useful for explaining these concepts in a visually clear and engaging way. Interactive learning through simulations. Interactive simulations and software allow students to model environmental processes, such as carbon cycling or water purification. These resources help students understand these processes dynamically, providing a deeper, more intuitive grasp of how systems function. Case studies and real-life examples. Case studies of environmental issues, such as deforestation, climate change, and pollution, provide context and make the learning more relevant. By analyzing real-world examples, students can see the practical application of environmental science concepts and understand the importance of solving these issues. Field-based learning. Experiential support materials like field trips or laboratory experiments allow students to explore environmental science in a hands-on manner. Field visits to local ecosystems or wildlife sanctuaries provide an opportunity to observe environmental phenomena firsthand, reinforcing theoretical learning with real-world experience. Technological tools for data collection and analysis. In environmental science, data collection and analysis are key skills. Technological support materials, such as data loggers, geographic information system (GIS) software, and environmental sensors, enable students to collect and analyze environmental data, providing them with practical skills they will use in future research or careers. 4. Integrating support materials effectively. It's not enough to simply have access to a wide array of support materials. Teachers must integrate these materials thoughtfully into their lessons. Here are some best practices for integrating support materials. Align materials with learning objectives. Ensure that the support materials you choose are directly aligned with your learning objectives. For example, if the objective is to understand the impact of pollution on ecosystems, include case studies, videos, and charts that show real-world instances of pollution. Vary support materials to cater to different learning styles. Incorporate a combination of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic materials to reach students with diverse learning preferences. A lesson on sustainable development, for example, could include a video, a discussion, and a hands-on activity like creating a sustainability action plan. Encourage student interaction with materials. Encourage students to actively engage with support materials by using them for group projects, presentations, or research assignments. This interaction will help solidify their understanding and give them experience in applying concepts. Provide additional resources for advanced learners. For students who are ready to go beyond the standard curriculum, provide additional resources such as articles, advanced textbooks, or access to online courses. This ensures that all students are challenged and engaged at an appropriate level. 5. Challenges in using support materials. While support materials can greatly enhance the learning experience, there are some challenges associated with their use. Access and availability. Not all students may have access to digital resources or technology, which can create disparities in learning opportunities. Educators must be mindful of the availability of resources to ensure equitable access for all students. Over-reliance on materials. It's important not to rely solely on support materials. While they are helpful, effective teaching also depends on a strong understanding of pedagogy, classroom management, and the ability to engage students in active learning. Quality and relevance. Not all support materials are equally effective. Teachers must carefully evaluate the quality and relevance of the materials they use, ensuring that they are accurate, up-to-date, and aligned with the curriculum. Previous year questions with answers. Which of the following is a type of visual support material commonly used in teaching? A. Audio recordings. B. Graphs and charts. C. Printed handouts. D. Field trips. Answer. B. Graphs and charts. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. What is the primary purpose of support materials in the learning process? A. To replace the teacher's role. B. To engage students in passive learning. C. To enhance and facilitate the teaching learning process. D. To assess student performance. Answer. C. To enhance and facilitate the teaching learning process. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. Which support material is most effective for explaining complex environmental systems like the carbon cycle? A. Field trips. B. Audio recordings. C. Diagrams and flowcharts. D. Printed textbooks. Answer. C. Diagrams and flowcharts. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. How can experiential learning be integrated into environmental science education? A. By using only theoretical resources. B. Through laboratory experiments and field trips. C. By assigning written essays. D. By watching educational videos only. Answer. B. Through laboratory experiments and field trips. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. What is a key consideration when selecting digital support materials for environmental science? A. The ease of use. B. The level of interactivity. C. The cost of the software. D. The length of the video. Answer. B. The level of interactivity. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. What challenges often faced when using support materials in teaching? A. Increased student engagement. B. Access and availability issues. C. Higher quality content. D. Better teacher-student interaction. Answer. B. Access and availability issues. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. Let me know your next topic, and I will continue providing high-quality coaching notes for your UGC Net JRF preparation. You said. Instructional facilities. ChatGPT said. UGC Net JRF Level Environmental Science Paper 1 Lecture. Instructional facilities. Instructional facilities refer to the physical and technological resources available to facilitate teaching and learning. These resources are essential in creating an effective and conducive environment for education. Instructional facilities not only support the delivery of content but also help in enhancing the quality of education by engaging students in diverse and meaningful ways. For the effective teaching of environmental science, instructional facilities play a pivotal role in bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application. 1. Types of instructional facilities. Instructional facilities can be classified into various categories, each serving a specific purpose in the learning environment. These categories include physical, technological, and administrative facilities, all of which are critical for effective teaching and learning. Physical facilities. These are the tangible resources that provide the environment necessary for learning. Physical facilities include classrooms. Classrooms are the primary spaces where direct instruction takes place. They should be designed to promote interaction, engagement, and collaborative learning. The seating arrangement, lighting, ventilation, and acoustics in the classroom are crucial factors that impact the learning experience. Laboratories. In environmental science, laboratories provide spaces for conducting experiments, research, and practical demonstrations. These facilities are equipped with essential instruments, such as microscopes, sensors, environmental test kits, and computers, which allow students to interact with data and analyze environmental phenomena in real time. Fieldwork facilities. Environmental science is deeply rooted in field studies, requiring access to natural environments. This includes field stations, environmental monitoring stations, and mobile research units that support hands-on, real-world environmental research. These facilities allow students to gather primary data, conduct environmental surveys, and participate in conservation efforts. Library and reading rooms. Libraries are critical instructional facilities that provide access to textbooks, research journals, scientific papers, and other learning resources. A well-equipped library is essential for both students and faculty to access academic literature and deepen their understanding of environmental science. Technological facilities. The integration of technology in education has revolutionized teaching and learning. In environmental science, technological facilities provide students and educators with tools to simulate, visualize, and analyze environmental systems. Computers and software. Computers are integral in teaching and research. Environmental science relies on specialized software for data analysis, geographical mapping (GIS), climate modeling, and environmental simulations. Software such as ArcGIS, MATLAB, and climate prediction tools are often used for scientific research and student assignments. Multimedia tools. Instructional technologies such as projectors, digital whiteboards, and interactive learning tools enhance the teaching process by providing dynamic visual aids, presentations, and interactive demonstrations. For example, a digital projector can display graphs and data trends related to environmental pollution, while an interactive board can be used to map out the environmental impacts of industrialization. Virtual labs and simulations. Virtual labs allow students to conduct experiments in a controlled digital environment, which is especially important in fields like environmental science, where real-world experimentation might be logistically challenging or costly. Simulations offer students the ability to observe the impact of variables in real time, such as how pollutants affect ecosystems or how climate change influences biodiversity. Learning management systems (LMS) and LMS, such as Moodle or Google Classroom, provides a platform for teachers to distribute study materials, assignments, and assessments. LMS platforms allow for communication between students and instructors and facilitate online discussions, feedback, and collaboration. These systems are increasingly being integrated into higher education to support hybrid or fully online courses. Administrative facilities. These facilities support the organizational and operational aspects of educational institutions. While not directly related to the teaching process, administrative facilities ensure the smooth functioning of academic programs. Office spaces for faculty. Faculty offices are essential for instructors to meet with students, discuss academic progress, and conduct research. These offices are typically equipped with computers, reference materials, and space for conducting administrative tasks, such as grading and lesson planning. Student services. These facilities, such as counseling centers, career services, and student support offices, play an important role in the overall well-being and academic success of students. In the context of environmental science, student services might also include fieldwork arrangements, internships, and guidance on research opportunities in environmental agencies or NGOs. 2. Importance of instructional facilities. The availability and effective utilization of instructional facilities are key to creating an enriching learning environment. Below are some reasons why instructional facilities are so important. Facilitating access to knowledge. Instructional facilities, particularly libraries and digital resources, provide students and faculty with the materials necessary to expand their knowledge base. In environmental science, where new research is continuously emerging, having access to current literature, research papers, and case studies is crucial. Promoting active learning. With modern instructional facilities, students are not limited to passive learning methods like listening to lectures. Interactive technologies, virtual labs, and field-based facilities enable active learning, where students engage directly with the material and develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Enhancing teaching efficiency. Teachers equipped with the right technological tools can deliver lessons more effectively. Multimedia tools, such as visual presentations, videos, and simulations, can help explain complex environmental processes like the water cycle, the impact of human activities on biodiversity, and climate change. This variety in teaching methods caters to different learning styles and increases student engagement. Improving data collection and analysis. In fields like environmental science, research often involves large datasets and complex analysis. Instructional facilities like computer labs equipped with software for GIS, environmental modeling, and data analytics help students and researchers analyze data and make informed decisions about environmental policy, conservation efforts, and resource management. Creating a collaborative learning environment. Classrooms and laboratories designed for group work and collaboration promote interaction between students, encouraging them to share ideas, debate concepts, and engage in collective problem solving. Collaborative learning is essential in environmental science, where interdisciplinary approaches are often required to address environmental challenges. Supporting research and development. High-quality instructional facilities are essential for fostering research. In environmental science, where research is often field-based, providing students and faculty with access to well-equipped laboratories and fieldwork facilities is essential for conducting experiments and gathering data. 3. Challenges in providing instructional facilities. Despite the critical role of instructional facilities, there are several challenges that educational institutions may face in providing them. Cost constraints. Setting up and maintaining instructional facilities, especially those that require specialized equipment such as laboratory tools, GIS software, and multimedia systems, can be expensive. Many institutions, especially in developing regions, may struggle to provide these resources consistently. Infrastructure limitations. Not all educational institutions have the physical infrastructure to support advanced instructional facilities. Issues such as outdated classrooms, lack of high-speed internet, and insufficient space for laboratories can hinder the effectiveness of the learning experience. Accessibility issues. In remote or underserved regions, access to instructional facilities such as libraries, computers, and labs may be limited. This creates an educational divide, where students in rural areas may not have the same opportunities for learning and skill development as those in more urbanized regions. Technological integration. While technology can enhance the learning process, its integration into teaching is not always smooth. Teachers may not be adequately trained to use new technological tools, and there may be issues related to the maintenance and compatibility of software and hardware. 4. Best practices for utilizing instructional facilities. To maximize the benefits of instructional facilities, it is important to integrate them into the curriculum effectively. Here are some best practices. Regular training for faculty. Teachers should be trained regularly to use new technologies and instructional materials. Training programs ensure that educators can effectively incorporate multimedia tools, virtual labs, and online platforms into their teaching strategies. Regular maintenance of facilities. Instructional facilities, especially those involving technology, require regular maintenance and updates. Keeping equipment in good working condition ensures that students and faculty can rely on these tools without interruptions. Encouraging collaborative use of facilities. Institutions should encourage students and faculty to collaborate in using instructional facilities. For example, interdisciplinary research projects that involve both environmental science and technology departments can be conducted in shared lab spaces. Ensuring equal access. Institutions must work towards ensuring that all students, regardless of their background or geographical location, have equal access to instructional facilities. Providing online access to materials and creating mobile-friendly resources can help bridge the accessibility gap. Previous year questions with answers. Which of the following is an example of an instructional facility used for practical learning in environmental science? A. Textbooks. B. Fieldwork facilities. C. Projectors. D. Audio recordings. Answer. B. Fieldwork facilities. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. What is the primary function of a learning management system, LMS, in the educational context? A. To provide textbooks. B. To facilitate online learning and resource sharing. C. To store physical equipment. D. To hold faculty meetings. Answer. B. To facilitate online learning and resource sharing. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. Which of the following instructional facilities is most critical for conducting field-based environmental research? A. Laboratories. B. Libraries. C. Fieldwork facilities. D. Office spaces. Answer. C. Fieldwork facilities. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. What is a major challenge faced by institutions in providing instructional facilities for environmental science education? A. Abundant availability of resources. B. Low student interest. C. High costs and infrastructure limitations. D. Lack of trained faculty. Answer. C. High costs and infrastructure limitations. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. Which of the following technologies can be used to analyze environmental data in real time? A. Physical textbooks. B. Virtual labs and software. C. Audio recordings. D. Classroom whiteboards. Answer. B. Virtual labs and software. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. Which of the following is an example of a technological support facility that can enhance teaching in environmental science? A. Projector-based presentations. B. Classroom furniture. C. Field trips. D. Printed notes. Answer. A. Projector-based presentations. UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. This concludes the lecture on instructional facilities for UGC Net JRF Environmental Science. Let me know if you would like to proceed with another topic. You said. Learning environment and institution. ChatGPT said. UGC Net JRF Level Environmental Science Paper 1 Lecture, Learning Environment and Institution. The learning environment and institution play a critical role in shaping the educational experience, impacting not only the way content is delivered but also how students interact with each other and their instructors. The physical, social, and cultural context within which learning takes place determines the effectiveness of teaching and learning processes. In environmental science, this is especially important due to the interdisciplinary nature of the subject, which often requires a collaborative approach and access to diverse resources. 1. Learning environment, concept and importance. The learning environment refers to the totality of the physical, psychological, and social conditions in which learning takes place. It encompasses the atmosphere, resources, tools, and interactions that influence student learning outcomes. A well-designed learning environment is integral to fostering engagement, motivation, and effective learning. It also promotes inclusivity and caters to the varied needs of learners. Key components of a learning environment include physical environment. This includes the classroom layout, seating arrangements, lighting, temperature, acoustics, and cleanliness. In an environmental science context, the physical environment also extends to laboratories, fieldwork locations, and libraries, which are crucial for practical learning and research. An effective physical environment ensures comfort, reduces distractions, and enhances focus, all of which are essential for learning complex topics such as climate change, biodiversity, and pollution. Psychological environment. The psychological aspect refers to the emotional and cognitive atmosphere in the classroom. Factors such as teacher-student interactions, classroom climate, and student support mechanisms contribute to the psychological environment. A positive psychological environment fosters student confidence, reduces anxiety, and encourages risk-taking and critical thinking. For instance, in environmental science, students must feel confident in engaging with complex scientific data, conducting field studies, and presenting findings. Social environment. Social dynamics in the classroom or online learning spaces significantly impact student engagement. Interaction with peers, group discussions, collaborative projects, and debates all constitute the social environment. In environmental science, social learning is crucial as students need to engage in discussions regarding environmental policies, conservation strategies, and global sustainability challenges. The social environment also includes the role of instructors in facilitating a respectful and inclusive space for all learners. Technological environment. With the increasing integration of technology in education, the technological environment refers to the digital tools and platforms that facilitate learning. These can include learning management systems, LMS, multimedia resources, online libraries, and virtual labs. In environmental science, technologies like geographic information systems, GIS, climate simulation tools, and environmental modeling software are essential for conducting research and learning. 2. Institutional role in education. Educational institutions are the organizational entities that structure and deliver educational programs. They provide the necessary resources, policies, and frameworks within which a learning environment is created and maintained. The role of the institution goes beyond just delivering curriculum. It also involves fostering a culture of learning, research, and innovation. Key aspects of the institutional role include Curriculum design and delivery. Institutions design curricula that align with national educational standards and global best practices. The curriculum must be comprehensive, inclusive, and flexible, offering students a broad understanding of environmental science while also allowing for specialization in key areas. This includes courses on environmental sustainability, pollution control, ecosystem management, and environmental policy. Faculty development. The quality of teaching directly depends on the expertise and competence of the faculty. Institutions must invest in ongoing professional development opportunities for faculty members, ensuring they are well equipped to handle evolving teaching methods, integrate new technologies, and stay updated with recent advancements in environmental science research. Faculty development also includes teaching methodology training to promote effective delivery in both physical and digital classrooms. Resource provision. Institutions provide the physical, technological, and academic resources that support teaching and research. These include access to laboratories, field sites, libraries, and digital tools. In the field of environmental science, this may involve providing students with access to environmental monitoring tools, data sets, field trips, and research funding for sustainability projects. Institutions must also ensure the maintenance of these resources and their alignment with curriculum goals. Research and innovation. Institutions, particularly at the graduate and postgraduate levels, are hubs for research and innovation. In environmental science, where global challenges like climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss need urgent solutions, institutions must foster an environment conducive to research. This includes establishing research centers, funding research projects, and collaborating with external stakeholders such as government bodies, NGOs, and international organizations working in environmental conservation and sustainability. Student support services. Effective institutions provide robust support services for students. This includes academic counseling, career guidance, mental health services, and extracurricular activities that promote holistic development. In environmental science, students may also benefit from internships with environmental agencies, mentorship from faculty members, and engagement with community-based sustainability projects. These services help students navigate their academic journey and prepare for their future careers. 3. Factors influencing the learning environment. Several factors influence the learning environment and determine the extent to which students can achieve learning outcomes. These include teacher expertise and teaching style. The competence of the teacher plays a central role in shaping the learning environment. Instructors must be knowledgeable in their subject, and also skilled in creating an engaging, student-centered environment. Their teaching style should cater to diverse learning needs, integrating a mix of lectures, discussions, hands-on activities, and fieldwork, which is particularly important in environmental science. Peer interaction. The social environment created by interactions with peers enhances learning. Collaborative learning, group projects, and peer discussions help reinforce concepts and build critical thinking skills. For example, in environmental science, students may engage in group projects on environmental impact assessments, policy analysis, or sustainability solutions, where peer feedback and collaboration are essential. Classroom management. Effective classroom management ensures a positive learning environment. Teachers must establish clear expectations, provide timely feedback, and maintain an atmosphere of mutual respect. Poor classroom management can lead to distractions, reduced participation, and disengagement, which hinder learning. Access to resources. The availability of instructional resources like textbooks, online databases, scientific journals, and multimedia tools is critical. Institutions should ensure that resources are accessible to all students, particularly in remote areas where access to advanced environmental research materials may be limited. Inclusive education practices. The learning environment must be inclusive, addressing the diverse needs of students, including those with disabilities, different learning styles, and varying levels of academic ability. Institutions must provide support through assistive technologies, differentiated instruction, and accommodations like extended time for exams. 4. Best practices for creating an effective learning environment. To ensure that the learning environment is conducive to student success, institutions and instructors should adopt several best practices. Student-centered learning. The focus should shift from traditional teacher-led instruction to a more student-centered approach. This involves promoting active learning, encouraging students to ask questions, conduct research, and engage in problem-solving activities. In environmental science, this could mean incorporating field-based research projects, group discussions on current environmental issues, and interactive simulations. Integration of technology. Technology should be integrated to enhance both teaching and learning. For instance, online learning platforms, virtual labs, and GIS tools should be used to facilitate interactive learning experiences. Educational apps, videos, and simulations can bring abstract environmental concepts to life. Collaborative learning. Encouraging group work and peer-to-peer interactions fosters teamwork, critical thinking, and a deeper understanding of content. Environmental science, by its nature, benefits from collaborative efforts, whether in analyzing data, creating sustainability initiatives, or discussing policy solutions. Feedback and assessment. Regular feedback through formative assessments helps students track their progress. This could be in the form of quizzes, peer reviews, or presentations. In environmental science, assessments could also involve project-based evaluations, where students work on real-world environmental challenges. 5. Challenges in establishing an effective learning environment. Despite its importance, creating a conducive learning environment comes with challenges, such as inadequate infrastructure. Limited access to modern teaching facilities, including laboratories and research tools, can hinder effective learning. Many institutions struggle to keep up with the demands of new technologies and scientific equipment required for teaching advanced environmental science topics. Lack of faculty training. Faculty members may not always be well-versed in modern teaching techniques or technology integration. Ongoing professional development is needed to equip instructors with the skills to enhance the learning environment. Inequitable access. In many regions, access to quality education and learning facilities is uneven. Students in rural or underserved areas may have limited access to fieldwork opportunities, digital resources, and research programs, impacting their ability to fully engage with the curriculum. Previous year questions with answers. What is the primary factor that determines the success of the learning environment? A. Teacher expertise. B. Peer interaction. C. Availability of resources. D. Infrastructure quality. Answer. A. Teacher expertise. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. Which of the following is an essential component of the technological learning environment in environmental science? A. Computer labs. B. Field trips. C. Student clubs. D. Online research databases. Answer. A. Computer labs. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. Which of the following is a major challenge in creating an effective learning environment? A. High student motivation. B. Insufficient access to resources. C. Positive peer interaction. D. Effective teaching techniques. Answer, B. Insufficient access to resources, UGC Net Paper 1, 2019. What is the main role of an educational institution in creating an effective learning environment? A. To deliver knowledge through lectures. B. To provide resources and support for research and learning. C. To manage student behavior. D. To evaluate student performance. Answer, B. To provide resources and support for research and learning. UGC Net Paper 1, 2020. Which aspect of the learning environment fosters critical thinking and collaboration among students? A. Individual study time. B. Group discussions and projects. C. Instructor-led lectures. D. Reading assignments. Answer, B. Group discussions and projects. UGC Net Paper 1, 2021. This concludes the lecture on Learning Environment and Institution for UGC Net JRF Environmental Science. Let me know if you'd like to explore another topic. You said. Methods of Teaching in Institutions of Higher Learning, ChatGPT said. UGC Net JRF Level Environmental Science Paper 1 Lecture, Methods of Teaching in Institutions of Higher Learning. The methods of teaching in institutions of higher learning are pivotal in shaping the overall learning experience for students. These methods not only determine how effectively content is communicated but also how students engage with the material, develop critical thinking skills, and apply their knowledge to real-world scenarios. In the context of environmental science, where interdisciplinary approaches and practical skills are essential, the selection of teaching methods is crucial. This lecture explores various methods of teaching in higher